Di Pioli versus Talbot, the front row of the grid. Good start from Darcy Russell, the number 4 fastback Mustang. Everyone gets away except for the Cortina right at the rear of the field. Might be Mick Stupka, unfortunately not going any further.
That's a shame. Mick Stupka's normally bought an interesting car to the track. He's bought Citroens, he's bought everything along. Gets himself into a Cortina.
In fact, sorry, that was Mike George and the Lotus Cortina. Now he's getting underway right at the tail end of the field, but Di Pioli is our race leader in the red Camaro. Number 96, Darcy Russell, a great start. He put the big Ford Mustang number 4 up into second place in front of Trevor Talbot.
Let's have a look where Paul Stubber bobs his head up, and we've got the wipers going on the Miles Charger there, so he's looking right down the outside. Hopefully they're just been flicked on by accident. Where is Stubber? There he is, just picking his way through the Just Cars traffic jam that is turn number 4. Victim of its own success, this category. There's 40 plus cars on the field, which makes for quite the traffic jam on the opening couple of laps.
Certainly does. They're side by side. As Justin Brown joins the race from pit lane in his number 25 BMW, Trevor Talbot now moves up into second place in his Chevy Camaro, displaces Darcy Russell, who has now a mirror full of Darren Hossack in that little purple RX-2.
Tell you what, Darren Hossack wants to manage the temperature in the engine bay of that little RX-2, because after 12 laps he goes right round the outside, hauls them up, and the frustration begins. You'll point it in a straight line on the straight, and then there's nothing short of cubic inches that will take care of business for his fellow competitors. Stubber just being boxed in now by Capri and a Mini, and this is what can happen. He looks to the outside.
3 wide.
Powers it on. And there he goes. Cracks it open.
Well, there's a classic Speedway move there. I'll just round up two cars and be sideways at the same time. It's typical Stubber.
The good thing about that was that he managed to gain control of the car by kicking it out sideways. Opened up a bit of track in front of him. He knew how far he had to get out to the side. It's like a pinball machine flipper, just giving him a bit of a flick out of the way.
Up on the cushion, as they would say on the dirt tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. Using the barriers to bounce it off.
Just rounding up the Tirana of Mick Cross from Tasmania. So Stubber up into 8th place already in the number 31 Chev Camaro.
I don't think he's going to have it all his own way. He'll certainly pick it off, and water finds its level sort of thing. But once he gets up to around where Stern is, he's going to find it just a little bit more difficult to pick them off. Is he bouncing the left-hand rear wheel off the ground through turn 3? Have a look at that shot. That was amazing.
Di Pioli certainly not going to hang around waiting for him. He's trying to make hay while the sun shines. Out in front, our race leader, Trevor Talbot, still holding down second in front of Darren Hossack.
Gee, Joe Cleet is very busy at the wheel of the Mustang there on the right-hander at Jack Miller Corner.
Pete Newman in the all-black 64 shape Mustang and number 43, the reigning club champion here in Victoria. Also in the box seat to make it back-to-back this year with that fantastic reliability.
I got to say, I appreciate an all blacked out race car. That is cool.
10-second penalty for a start infringement for the
68 and 86. One of them's Andrew Baird
and Jeff Mundy in the Camaro.
So 2 cars just inside the top 5 and just outside the top 10. Here comes Darren Hossack. Been around this track many times in a faster piece of kit, but he's loving just absolutely wheeling this car, driving the absolute wheels off. And this is the frustrating bit though. Darcy Russell blast past. Here comes Paul Stubber. He'll take the stickers off the side of Darren's car on his way through. And Darren's getting a bit of brakes there, getting a little bit loose. Lock up on the Stubber car there. What great car control, hasn't he, Paul Stubber?
Certainly went very deep under brakes there, rounding up the Mazda of Hossack as he starts to put the pressure on Darcy Russell in the Boss-powered 302 Ford Mustang number 4. And Stubber now goes up well inside the top 10, now up into 4th place.
Paul Stubber has to manage the rubber under him as well here. Don't forget that. He's really lit it up in the first four laps, but pretty much everyone else in the field won't have quite given the temp cycle through the tyre as much as what he has been at this stage.
3rd, in fact, so he's now challenging Trevor Talbot for second place as Hossack continues to harass mercilessly the Mustang of Darcy Russell up ahead. Problem for Andrew Beard in the number 86 Chev Camaro coming into the pits.
That's a real shame. Nice looking car there, and we get a good look at the car that started out of position number 5. This is the number 90 of Chris Stern.
Had a great battle this morning with Glenn Miles and the Charger, amongst several cars in fact, as Hossack once again up the inside of Russell down at MG.
You get the feeling that Darcy Russell goes on. There you go, Darren. Oh, look at that, freewheeling it on the front there. He's giving a bit of, you can do it, Paul. I'll just lift the wheel here and dance through here like a puppy. Tricycling, that's right. Just saving a bit of rubber through for turn 1 so he doesn't over-temp it. Loads up the left-hand side of the car through turn 1.
Stubber, meanwhile, has moved up into second place, displacing Trevor Talbot. So it's now 69 Camaros running a 1-2 with a 68 model in third. That's the Talbot machine. Nathan Gordon there had his hands full with the Hossack machine this morning. Unfortunately lobbed the number 45 Monaro into the sand trap. And now he's right in the thick of the action there with Jeff Mundy in the Camaro, Mick Cross in the Tirana, Justin Elvin, the South Australian, in the little Cooper S.
Well, look at the HQ Coupe 45 braking it sideways there.
Nathan had a very eye-catching run at the Bathurst 1000 there as an invited car with a support class there, running with a mix of cars. So a couple of Group S sports cars there, and had a sterling run on the Saturday before the tyres went away, unfortunately. Got plenty of air time. Newman in the black Mustang now holding out Mundy, Gordon. Gordon trying to go around the outside of Jeff Munday at Miller Corner. That hasn't worked, and he runs wide on the exit. Allowed Mick Cross to have a sneaky look in the number 29 orange XU1. Pete Newman in the all-black Mustang number 43. He's the Johnny Cash of historic touring cars with that all-black outfit. Has an all-black driving suit. So stealth colours for Newman.
You call it a pony, whatever you want, but this one's a black one. It's like the stallion.
Well, Dark Horse is a name that is now on the side of a Mustang. Forthcoming S650 Mustang called the Dark Horse. Very powerful road car coming to the country in a couple of years' time.
Iconic silhouettes is what historic touring car racing is all about, and all of these cars have got a history about them. And have a look at this little Mini that's just trying to weigh in on this battle as well.
Glenn Miles in the Charger now starting to make his presence felt. The number 16 mustard-coloured VH Charger, that famous 265 Hemi under the bonnet.
Gee, I tell you what, you reckon Darren Hossack's getting frustrated in the RX2. Imagine the feeling of frustration of passing 3 cars from Lukey Heights round to the straight in a Mini, and then the 3 of them coming blasting past you again. And I guess to a lesser extent the GTR XU1 Tiranas as well. They do, in their day, go very, very well, and still do in different conditions in historic touring cars. But when you've got bulk horsepower, straight line handling as I like to call it, then you're in all sorts of strife, aren't you?
Well, of course, we've seen Trevor Talbot have great success here over the years in his yellow XU1. Took out the Victorian Historic Touring Car Trophy back here at Isle of Magic in 2005. So certainly a very quick motor car. And Mick Cross doing a great job here, the Tasmanian, in his Origin example at the moment. Really putting it up to the larger engine cars in front. Having said that, Miles has now rounded up Cross. So Miles on the charge, the number 16 Valiant, now putting the pressure on Pete Muirman and the black Mustang. Fastest man so far, no surprises there, Paul Stubber, a 145.8, so just outside of his own lap record. Was hoping to get into the 44s this weekend. Of course, that was scupper this morning with the rear wheel cylinder issue. So track might be a little bit greasy and maybe cooling off a bit this afternoon. The clouds coming back over. David Crabtree in Ford Capri battling the Falcon Sprint of Jervis Ward. Ford V6 versus Ford V8. Falcon Sprint, became famous with its stunning performance on the 1964 Monte Carlo Rally.
Bill Trengove currently in the 4.5 litre to 6 litre in Group NB. 152.34 is what it says in the record books here at the moment. So absolutely eclipsing. Sorry, we're actually NC, aren't we? That's what we're looking for.
The outright lap record for Group N is held by Stubber with the NC 69 Chevy Camaro.
145.5, so 145.8 at the moment.
So 2 classes out there today. Group NB, which is for cars built prior to the end of 1964, and Group NC, which must have been a model that raced in Australia from 1965 through to the end of 1972. So I guess they tightened the rules up a little bit there, and the car had to have actually raced in Australia, which is a bit different to NB. NB was any car that was homologated as a touring car anywhere in the world prior to the end of 1964. Jeff Mundy in the number 68 Camaro there, holding out Nathan Gordon in the all-Aussie Monaro, except for the engine, big 350 Chev under the bonnet.
So Darren, physically the car that raced, or the car that was
that
raced?
model.
Yeah,
So
that model.
So these
So it
cars,
doesn't actually have to be the
correct,
actual car.
Correct, yeah. So these cars are built to a set of rules to replicate a bit of a mix of series production and improved touring, as we had back in the day. We had 2 classes of touring cars. So they don't have to have an actual race history, the car itself, but the model certainly does for NC. Been very few cars with actual race history we've seen run in the class because, of course, they're extremely valuable. We saw the ex-Pete Gagan Mustang running with historic touring cars a few years ago at the the very capable hands of David Wall.
Well, and of course the Bob Jane Camaro still sits proudly in the reception area at Bob Jane headquarters in Port Melbourne.
Love to see that back out on the track one day. Miles Johnson did a fantastic job of restoring that car back to as how Bob ran it back in the day. Stubber still chasing down Aldo Di Pioli, whose fastest time, a 147.2 for Di Pioli. So still
the tyres protesting down at turn 2 on the 6-pack. In fact, it
Nathan
wasn't.
Gordon.
It was on the Nathan Gordon on the coupe.
He's hit the beach once again. That's disappointing there for Gordo. The second time he's lobbed the big 45 Monaro into the gravel trap.
That is going to, I would suggest, halt proceedings for a lap or 2, Darren. I would suggest that car is not going to get out of there.
Very deep gravel trap down there at Southern.
Done its job, hasn't it? That's
certainly
what it's there for.
Certainly has.
So we'll wait and see how race control reacts to that. With still 5 laps remaining, 4 3/4 laps remaining, I would not be surprised if we saw the Cool Drive safety car deployed. They're obviously assessing their options at the moment.
Kirk Davis in the little RX2. He's having a great battle with Justin Elvin in the Mini. It's funny, you travel all that way and you end up racing against the same bloke you do back at home in South Australia.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because generally they know each other pretty well and they'll give each other the honest amount of room that they need. We don't often see contact in this sort of historic type racing because the consequences are just far outweigh the advantage, don't they?
They certainly are. We do see a little bit of panel damage now and again because they don't parade around. They're right into it, get stuck into it, so occasionally it does happen. Nothing deliberate, of course.
It is interesting too, we've got such a strong field of cars here, and the BHRR putting on the Geelong Revival this weekend as well. They could have been at either place. Here we go.
Replay of Nathan.
Oh, there's a wheel off it.
Nathan Gordon has lost a rear wheel. Well, it wasn't his fault that time.
Continues on down the path, well and truly beyond.
Extremely rare.
So that makes it even more surprising that we haven't seen the safety car deployed yet.
Yeah, Nathan Gordon losing a rear wheel in the big number 45 HQ Monaro, and that's plonked him into the sand, into the gravel. Quite rare.
Yeah, that's a shame down at turn 2 to have the car off. Now, Darren, this number 41.
Jerry Leinster in the black number 41.
What is that? Is that a tribute livery?
Phil Barrow is off into the gravel trap as well, but drives out, hopefully.
Given that grey motor of
That's
treatment.
up at Lukey Heights, is it not, Darren?
Yeah, it is, yes.
He's having a bit of a tour there through the outskirts of the gravel trap. Good to see Phil back out there.
Absolutely good. Always good to see a humpy. Certainly was synonymous with the early days of sports sedan racing. Everyone had a humpy. And a race car as well.
And very popular right through, right up until the late 60s, even though it was surpassed by later model Holdens. They were still very popular out in the race circuits and the hooning areas of back in the day.
Many a fiberglass body was put over the top of one of them, that is for sure. And I'm still very surprised that we haven't seen a safety car here, although obviously covered off by double wave yellows down there at turn 2.
The car is well off the racing line too. It's buried deep into that gravel trap, so out of harm's way, hopefully, as we see this battle continuing on between Les Wormsley in the number 99 Cortina and the number 41 Cortina of Jerry Leinster. Just about to see a replay of Phil Barrow having a travel through the gravel trap.
Oh.
Nice little look there.
He's luckier than what we thought he was initially, I think.
Very neat spin, actually. Oof. Didn't hit anything, great to see.
Geez, that'd tear your heart out if we saw that come to some sort of more...
Heating up at the front, folks.
Isn't it?
Paul Stubber, the number 31 yellow Camaro, right on the tail now of Aldo Di Piole in the red Camaro, number 96, with almost 2 and a bit laps to go in this final race for Historic Touring Cars, brought to us by Just Cars magazine.
And it's going to get even more lively, Darren. A little bit of rain starting to appear on the commentary booth window here too, so that could get really lively here.
Stubber right on Di Piole's tail as they head into Southern Loop once again.
Oh, Stubber wants in, and he crowds the corner. No contact, massive understeer. He is trying to pour on the lock there, and he's just pouring on and off lock, solving the problem with the right foot. That's how you do it, Paul Stubber style. Wow, this is lively.
Stubber just had to back out of that one, of course, with the yellow flag being displayed for the stricken Monaro of Nathan Gordon. So pulled back just in time as Di Piole tries to cover off through Miller Corner.
He's going to come under massive pressure now, isn't he? There we go, Stubber solving it with a couple of licorice straps down the racetrack there. Bulk horsepower on call there for the number 31. And we are being told this is the last lap, so checkered flag being readied.
Yep, so 1 lap lobbed off the original scheduled journey. So can Di Piole hold off Paul Stubber and make it 2 wins from 2 today? Stubber side by side trying to go around the outside now of Di Piole.
Puts into the inside though, under a braking marker. Piole stay with him because it will hold him up.
Stubber up the inside at MG and takes the lead. Can Di Piole fight back? Only a couple of corners to go now. We are heading towards a checkered flag, folks. Stubber versus Di Piole. It'll be a 69 Chevy Camaro 1-2.
Wow, from rear of grid. You can hear all about it at the Napa Auto Parts Grassroots Racing Podcast. Paul Stubber comes in to take the win in the 10 lap distance, originally 12, and gets the win there in the Camaro.
Great drive from Stubber and Di Piole. There was nothing in it at the finish. Darren Hossack looks like he will end up in 4th place behind the 68 Chevy Camaro of Trevor Talbot. Great drive from Hossack. Plenty of Rotary fans I know will be watching worldwide on Blendline TV.
Uncontested in 4th place too, isn't he? No one in front, no one behind. Darren won't like that. He likes to get in a crowd and do his stuff.
Talbot takes the final step on the podium, then the Mazda of Hossack. Yeah, he really gapped our 5th place man there, Darcy Russell. Nevertheless, a strong performance from Darcy and the number 4 Mustang.
He's got a nice garage of cars, Darcy Russell, hasn't he?
Certainly has.
Every time he comes out and he's got his name on it, it's like, wow, that's a desirable piece of kit.
Miles and the Charger trying to hold off Mundy in the Chev Camaro as they put a lap on the night Cortina, and Miles will bounce back after that spin on the final lap this morning. A well-deserved 7th place for Miles and the Charger off the back of the grid along with Stubber, of course.
Cars coming streaming to the line as Milliman goes through in the Devil Black Mustang. And they keep streaming to the line. The number 73 has had a really good few weeks at the racetrack.
A few electrical issues for David Brown, the Datsun, this weekend though, but he posts a finish in the last race. Chris Stern, a very solid run into 6th in the number 96 out model Ford Mustang.
Jervis Ward ultimately home in 14th place there in the sprint.
And Kirk Davis got through on Justin Elvin, and the Battle of the Croat is there to end up 12th behind the Capri of Quentin Bland.
Bosch Motorsport provides technology for racing. Worldwide experience from all major categories of motorsport is in your race car when you use Bosch Motorsport components, ignition system, sensors, fuel delivery and high-end electronics. Bosch Motorsport brings race-proven quality and performance to your motorsport machine. Search for Bosch Motorsport Australia or find us at boschmotorsport.com.au. There's good, there's better, and then there's Bosch. Bosch Motorsport, when quality and performance matter.